I'm so grateful. All right. All right. Thanks, Cam and Shelb. You got me on that one. Appreciate it a ton. I usually have a big pink sticky note, and I've remembered every time until this time. So I appreciate that reminder so much. But calming the storm and empowering our nervous system. So again, we started out with some deep breaths and anchoring into, some grounding with feeling our feet on the floor, our backs, our sit bones, everything anchored in, feeling it actually, and then releasing some tension with the deep breaths. All right, on to the next. The nervous system, two main branches. You have the sympathetic, which is our fight or flight. That's my favorite.
It still shows that the record or the screen sharing is paused. At least for
Me
okay.
too.
oh,
There
there
you
we go.
go.
Did it go? Thank you.
Got it.
See, we're going to figure this all out, guys. Thanks for your patience with me. So, but with the nervous system, we have the two main branches, sympathetic, which is fight or flight, and the parasympathetic, which is wet, rest, and digest. And what's really interesting is if you guys think about this, and with our HD design, this has been a fun thing that a lot of us have really dove into with understanding how our body best digests food, right? So mine is like more of like enclosed, quiet spaces, my husband's is like a busy marketplace. So he does just fine like eating, going and having fun while he's talking. I don't do so well with that. Right. And that is just more of like my body is trying to rest. And while it's not just digesting food, but when we think about digesting food, like how much is getting absorbed and what capacity, like what am I absorbing and what am I not able to absorb when I am in fight or flight, right? If I ate like my husband ate, I would still feel like I was in survival mode in fight or flight, right? I would probably be eating things really unconsciously and not taking the time to really enjoy my food, which is a thing that's a difficult thing for me anyway, right? So anyway, thinking about that, that's in relation to food, but thinking about your nervous system in regular life. Do you take any time? Do you schedule your time to digest and rest? All right, on to the next one. Let me see if we're going to work here. Okay. Chronic stress keeps us stuck in the sympathetic sympathetic loop, which is a survival mode. I'm just going to see if I can move this little screen up over here. All right. So, how many of you guys feel like you have chronic stress? What would you classify as chronic stress? Let's just start there. Anybody?
I'll share. I think for me, the times that I've thought, oh man, maybe this is chronic, right? Maybe this is something that isn't going away, is the times where it feels like my default, no matter what's happening, right? Good or bad, doesn't matter if somebody says something positive, my mind is taking it in, or if there's a positive event, my mind is looking for the potential pain, right? My mind is looking for the potential of how could this go wrong? How could I be wrong in it? Right? How could I show up as not good enough? And when that I think for me, it's like when stress feels like the default rather than just something that kind of comes and goes, but it's the thing that is the norm. I think that's where it becomes, at least for me, I'd say feels chronic.
I love that. And even thinking about that, so let's take maybe a different pain point and put it where stress is at. Chronic pain, chronic anxiety, chronic depression keeps us stuck in that sympathetic loop, survival mode, right? So when we classify it as chronic, like Colton says, that's my default, that's what my brain is registered as my default, then what happens? I'm actually like welcoming it, like, come on, bring it in, right? What's the next anxiety thing that's going to happen? Man, I'm anxious. Oh man, now I'm feeling like really low. Like, blah, 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 whatever it might be, like, where are we stuck? Maybe in a survival mode in relation to something that we have viewed as chronic, or somebody else has told us maybe that is chronic. Does that make sense? Because a lot of times we buy into diagnosis, guys, really easily, right? Anybody have anything you want to add there? Okay, on to the next. All right, healing requires access to regulation tools that invite the I can talk today, that invite the parasympathetic system, right? I mean, this is, I'm trying not to say the word right, and I keep like pausing every time I say it because it's like, this is a zinger. Um, so, but the parasympathetic, thinking about healing, how are you going to jump into using any tools if you're consistently in that loop? Does that make sense? If I wake up and I'm anxious and I'm jumping and I'm going and I'm just like, okay, like I hit the ground running and I haven't even taken time to ground, fill out like what's my day, so what do I want for my day today, what am I calling in, who am I calling in, all of those types of things, like what is my intention for the day. But if I hit the ground running, I usually by the end of the day I'm still running, right? So having some intention for your day, setting into regulation tools that invite some regulation of the parasympathetic nervous system. So the nervous system is like the weather. When the storm hits, we don't judge the storm. We find shelter, we get still, and we ride it out. The same is true with emotional storms. And so when emotions come up, like we get to play with those, right? This has been a week where I know part of our team has been working through a ton of emotions, right? There it is again. So I'm I'm buzzing myself, y'all.
Yep.
So, but like thinking about like what emotion and am I potentially shaming myself for? Right? There it is again. I'm just gonna just roll with it today. Anyway, when I shame myself for feeling like I had a gentleman in my chair this morning, he's super emotional. He's got some very big life changes going on. And his default is back to Cammy Shelby. They're giving me some crap here. um anyway, but his default has been that he's not enough, he'll never be enough. And a lot of this comes back to his 5-year-old child self, that where his sexual abuse started, right? So thinking about that and him not being able to, in his words, be able to perform as a 5-year-old, that's where his buy-in of I will never be enough started. So we might not know where our buy-in came, but you were bought into this belief somewhere, right? His was pretty profound that he was able to finally land on that, right? And then he had sexual abuse and a great big sexual event that happened at 18 where he was cast out of his church. And the only place, when you close your eyes and you go to your safe place, that was his church. And he was cast out of his church. So like, again, like we have all of these, like these things coming in, and it all comes back for him. Like, how can I work in now into this space of creating this? He wants to be a coach and he wants to do all these things and he wants to lead men's groups and all of this stuff. And he's bilingual. He's a beautiful person that has so much to offer. And he had to land on where some of this started for him to be able to move through it. I will tell you, like, there's certain things that you might need to know, and there's certain things you don't. The details, if you don't remember them, it's okay. Just knowing that some of these things happened was good enough. He needed to land on something that was really profound for him to understand, where did it come from, because I want to clear this from that level. And it was beautiful, and it still is beautiful, and I'm really excited to see what's coming next for him. But owning the emotion of now, he no longer feels shame for that. He knows that that happened for him because, well, I mean, whatever his reasoning is, but I would say one of his becauses could be potentially there's a lot of clients in his new coaching world that he's wanting to go into that he will only be able to touch because of that experience, right? I'll tell you guys, the very best coaches are the ones that have been through it, right? You guys, how many of you guys get phone calls and say, hey, could you just hear me out on this? What's your best advice? And you usually have some pretty solid stuff to give them, don't you?
Mhm.
Because you fill it in a big space a lot differently than other people do. And so I'm just going to lean in. And again, on this thing on Thursday, when we talk about empowerment and you getting to be your own coach, this is super cool, you guys. This has been the most life-changing thing for my husband. When he started, he got his NLP, and well, we got our NLP together, and he started NLP in himself. It changed so much, right? I can't coach him. Kim can coach him. I don't know if Colt can. I don't know if that happened yet. I would love to see Cammy and Shelby coach him. But that's the thing is that there are some people that we can coach, but what's going to come back to is us coaching ourselves through some of those dialogues and those types of things, because we cannot control what other people come at us with, but we can control how we receive it or if we receive it and choose to still love them for what they may be going through and still like, okay, my boundary is now you don't get to talk to me maybe ever again, right? Especially if you're going to come at me like that. And if not, I mean, you get to create the boundary, whatever that might look like. But the emotional storms, are they yours or are they theirs in that space? Right? Because I can tell you, there's been plenty of times when somebody's come in with an emotional storm and I've been on freaking cloud nine and all of a sudden I'm down there like wallowing in the puddle with them. Right. And like feeling almost like I'm drowning, not even splashing and playing, but feeling like I'm drowning with them. And I totally allowed it. Right. I was just a self-awareness piece. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Do you guys like my storms? It's kind of cute, huh? Signs of dysregulation. These are just a few. Oh, I went backwards. Let's go forwards. Signs of dysregulation. Overthinking. Who does that? Who has conversations and then goes back and think, man, I should have like maybe said this or that would have been much better for me to do. Like, do you guys know that that's a broken throat chakra? You would think it's up here, you're thinking about it, but you're thinking about the conversation that you wish you would have had. And it could have went differently if I would have said this. And then why didn't I say this? Overthinking, a sign of dysregulation. Anxiety. What is an emotion or a feeling that we can supplement that our body mirrors the same as anxiety? Excitement. My body doesn't know the difference in between anxiety and excitement, right? Other than anxiety will hit into some fear points, which will in turn affect my kidneys, right? Or it's a right again. All right. Fatigue despite rest. This is the number one way my body will show me that I'm in dysregulation. I will wake up tired despite having a really good night's rest. And then I'll still get up and I'll still push. And I'll go to bed the next night. And then it's just a pattern that doesn't stop until I decide to either rest, get out in nature, do something that will regulate me. Okay. Irritability. Who has this one? Who knows somebody that has this one? All right. Irritability. That one is frustration is my go-to when I mean that's my number one thing that shows me I'm out of alignment, which can show up as irritability as well. I mean, whatever you want to say, I feel like they're kind of hand in hand, but that's also another thing that your human design will teach you. Shutdown. This was one of my favorite go-tos is I would turtle up, go into a hunker down, disappear, you know. In fact, I can honestly say I've even done that a little bit this last, I don't know, 2 weeks. I've been a little bit more in my own world in my creation space and, you know, not really wanting to like get out and be mingling with people and things like that. I wouldn't say I'm in total shutdown, but there's definitely some things that my body is teaching me right now. And sometimes it will do this because there's something big coming and and you need to hunker down just a little bit and let your body rest. This does happen, right? There's that word again. Like a bad word. All right. And people pleasing. Nobody does this here. I know nobody does this. Okay, I'm lying. Everybody does this here that I know. Or has, right? I check in. I really try hard to check in now with this one because this one has been my default, and especially in my professional life. Um, and even as a mom, you know, like making sure like that my kids have all of these things, and and wanting to make sure that they're feeling all of the things, right? The people pleasing, and my friends, like that was, my old friends especially, like I would do a lot of things just to that I wasn't even comfortable with or want to do, just because I didn't want to upset somebody else, right? Anybody else feel that one a little bit?
100%.
All right. And then disconnection from self and others. This one is where, again, I feel like this one is probably one of the later ones where you are just so done that you have zero emotional capacity to hold space for much of anything. And so you disconnect from yourselves and others, find yourself not dysregulating, but dissociating, more in your phone, more like just completely, maybe even like into a Netflix binge, things like that. Those are some really common ones that we do. Anybody else have their favorite flavor of dissociation? Like when you're just feeling like disconnected, what do you like to do?
Facebook scroll.
Okay, scrolling.
I have
Any,
some like novels that I'll read that I can really kind of just reading books is usually, and there's certain ones that I'll do that I can kind of be away from myself.
disappear for a little bit, huh? In somebody else's story, right? I mean, a lot. It's better for your mind to read than it is to Netflix binge, but it's about the same, right? Anybody else? Good there. All right. So again, this is another time when I want you to think about what are some of the ways you notice your body telling you that you're overwhelmed. And this is a super important thing for a lot of us to be aware, because again, if I'm waking like I tell you, my number one way is I wake up tired, and even especially after a good night's rest. That's my first sign that I need to make a priority for myself to maybe get out in nature, go ground, I mean, it might be exercise, whatever it is, I need to do something that's going to bring my nervous system back into regulation. Does anybody want to share some of the ways that their body teaches them or shows them that they might be out of, the overwhelm is about to hit? Or do you just all of a sudden you're overwhelmed and you don't even know why? A lot of times that happens too, right? Because again, when we are programmed to be in survival mode, we go and go and go until our body says enough. And then all of a sudden the overwhelm is so big that you're like, okay, how do I get out of this? I might sleep for 4 days. I just disappear for a while, whether it's in a novel, whether it's in a TV show, or whether it's in the bed. There's a lot of people I know that just go to bed, right? Regulation tools, then vagus nerve activation. This is one of my favorites. We actually did this not that long ago. I think Kim might have done it with the humming. So one way that we can activate the vagus nerve is to just hum. And if we grab, was it our earlobes? Is that what we did? Our earlobes. I know this right here, like these little things, that those are vagus nerve resets on the ears. But also if you grab the earlobes and I think you pull them, I think it was up and out, like up and you pull them a certain way. I can't even remember, but I do know for certain that these little guys right here, because in face only, this is how we reset the vagus nerve, is right here. And then if you just hum, and start to feel the vibration just come down into your chest, it will regulate you, it will bring you back in. Gargling, cold splashes. Also, what else goes along with cold splashes? Colton's son will tell you they're the winter shower. I think he was 8 years old once, and he's like, "Grandma, did you do your winter shower?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And and Rowdy, he would have been, I don't know what, 5, maybe 6. He's like, "Grandma, that's when you get in the shower and you turn the shower all the way to cold, and you do you walk around, or you do a circle like 3 or 4 times." And I'm like, "Nope." And Roxon tells me, he says, "Well, Grandma, guess you're a loser." I'm like, "I guess I am. I'm okay. I don't even want to do it. I don't like the cold," but it does help a lot of people There are some studies out there that will tell you that the cold is not as good for people in the 35 to 55 age range for women only. And this is only just because our bodies are starting to transition into premenopause, and it can actually push us backwards. So that being said, pay attention to how you feel if you decide to do it. And if your body says no, honor the no. Okay, because it's not for everyone. And oh, go ahead.
Even putting your, just splashing cold water on your face or putting your hands in cold water can be very helpful as well. You don't have to totally plunge.
Yeah, beautiful. And you see a lot of people even doing that, putting their face in the cold water for migraines and things like that, or just to wake themselves up. They'll do that. I'll tell you, the very, very favorite splash I've ever had was in the sweat lodge when Dustin splashed us with some water right in my face. I was like, oh, that was like the best ever. But and gargling too, that also hits at the very back of that and will reset that vagus nerve as well. And somatic tools: shaking, bouncing, tapping, and stretching. You guys, I am a somatic freak. I love somatics. And I will just if you just stand up and just shake, and I'm talking, you just let your hands just like this, like flail out, you're shaking all of it, whatever out. You just like do like a little bit of bouncing to where your toes and your heels might come off the ground. If not, at least allow your heels to come up and back down. Getting a little trampoline will change your life. I'm not kidding. It is so good for your lymphatic system, and the somatic effect is so, so good, right? Kim did the tapping thing with us, the very first one we did. And so you can go back and review that, print out those, the handouts that she gave us. They're awesome. But even shaking, you guys, if you just lay in bed and just pretend like you're almost having a seizure, it does so much. And you look silly, but like, I'm telling you what, it doesn't even matter, because it will start to shift some stuff. Okay. And then the stretching. And let's see, I'm just gonna go back here really quick to some of the comments. Sarah says hyper focus on stuff, crafts, house cleaning. I love that. I think that there's a saying out there that talks about when a woman's cleaning, just let her clean because she's processing, right? Just, I know that's a go-to for Kim. She loves that. Like one of her ways to move through and process is to clean something, and then the end result is so gratifying. And then Tony, I've done an ice pack on my chest when I'm panicked, and Michelle says I do the same. Oh, I love that. I've not done that. I'm going to try. I don't know if I'm going to try it. I don't like the cold, but anyway, I'll just be honest. I might try it. We'll see. If I do, I'll give you all feedback on how that goes. Okay, breath work, box breathing or extended exhale breathing. And Colt does a lot of the breath work, and he's actually going to do some breath work with us later on in the month. But the box breathing one, you guys, is a super easy one. And it's just creating a box. You inhale, hold for the same length, exhale, hold, and then again, and you just create a box. And it's really fun. If you do this, go 3, creating the box one way, and then 3, watching your eyes, creating the box the opposite way. It starts to bring in some of the eye movement that Kim talks about a lot, and it will help regulate as well. And then anchoring practice. This is choosing a daily anchor habit. So this can be your hand on your heart with an affirmation. This for me, that is grounding with nature. That's my number one go-to. If I need to, I will ground, and I do it almost every single morning. Now I have a puppy. I just take him outside. I stand in the grass while he goes to the bathroom, and I'm like, man, maybe this is why I got a puppy. He's teaching me that I need to ground and be a little bit more, pause a little bit more in the mornings. A gentle face massage or EFT tapping. And like Kim taught us some of the EFT tapping on the head. And then, but even like, how many of you guys, did your parents like do this to you when you were little? Like just like, play with your face. Do you guys do that with kids? Like Colton?
Yeah, we'll do that with my grandbabies. And Zaylee loves it when we like just tickle her arm and her hand. She'll put her hand, she's been doing that since she was a newborn. Like put her arm out and you start tickling it, and then she's still doing it to this day. It's the greatest thing.
To play with that a little bit, you guys. Like like just touch your face and say, you know, and like this right here is the heart center when we're doing face zones right here, which is funny because Eskimos do like those nose kisses, like they brush their noses, like, right? It's a heart to heart. And so even at that, like just thinking if I'm bringing it down here and just I'm going into flow, touching the nose. And it's funny too, because kids want to like pull you in and put their nose right on your nose like this, right? It's so funny. They intuitively know. I just think they're just the best. They teach us all the time, right? And just,
Zay's even been grabbing her ears since she was brand new baby.
isn't that cool?
It's the coolest thing. It's it really is. It's built in. We just
Yeah.
forget.
We do. We do. And thinking about that too, I mean, you know, even if you just sit here and play with your hands like this, you know, I wipe off energy like this all the time. I'm like, oh, that's all done. You know, wipe my hand, my energies of that. And it's a good technique to do, but also there's a lot of self-soothing and energy creation that happens within our own hands. And so that can be a soothing, and bringing in some energy and then just anchoring it into the heart is a really good idea too. And remember, this isn't about fixing you. This is about you coming home into your body so that you can hear your intuition, respond with grace, and move through life with presence. As a lot of us, me included, I think I have about, and this is kind of sad to say, about 15 years where I lived very unconsciously, like very unconsciously. Just, I don't even remember most of the time during that time because I was just so programmed, so robotic. Get up, go to work, go to this, do this, right? And was I present? Not ever, not hardly ever, right? But I used to feel like my worth was in the grind, right? I used to find that I felt so much gratitude. Like, I mean, I was like, man, my body showed up for me. I was able to work a 14-hour shift and then go to the gym, and man, and then I still made it to my kid's baseball game, and oh, look at me, you know? And I was like, that was my life. And then I started getting older, and then all of a sudden I'm working a 14-hour shift. And then the next day, I mean, I think it was Colton that told me, he's like, Mom, do you realize that you're working a 14-hour day and then the next day you're having this to have the whole day just to recover, just to do it again? I was like, huh, man.
Yeah, I remember her bragging, I only work 3 days a week. I was like, well, you know, those 3 days are costing you another 3 days that you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
Well, and Carrie, on another side of all of this, like you were like you've got your worth out of the grind, and
mm-hmm.
I was like, and we'll talk about this more Thursday, but I was more of a victim. Like I didn't have a choice. I had to do this. I had to get up and work this, 40, 50-hour week, 8 to 5, no breaks, and then catching up on housework and laundry and everything all weekend long, and then back at it again Monday morning. And I was a victim to it. Like I really, because I had to pay my bills. And so there's all of these beliefs and programs around why we're doing what we're doing. And I'll call bullshit on all of it because I did, and then we really truly don't have to live like that. We think we do a lot of the time. We don't. We're always in choice. And so that's just a flip side of the coin, because I didn't get anything out of it. I hated my work. I hated what I did until I finally stepped in and claimed what I did want to do with my time and energy. But yeah.
I love that. How about you guys? Do you guys know what you want to do with your time and energy? Because I'll tell you, during my unconscious years, I just like, I don't think I knew what I wanted either. I didn't. Otherwise, I would have been working towards it. I was exactly like what Kim was doing, other than I was like excited about it. Right. But again, I had no, like, I mean, really, what was my purpose? Who was I? What was it that Cam and Shelb did with the little bubbles? Our, oh my gosh, why am I having a brain fart with this? Come on, guys, help me.
Okay,
When you
help me
guys,
with the
The
little
knee,
bubble.
the what?
it's
Little bubbles?
Yeah, it was
The
bubble and then the
need,
little lines. What is
yeah,
in the middle?
the needs.
Needs.
Needs. Right.
Oh yeah.
Needs. Thank you.
I'm all
Why am
bubbles.
I having a brain
What?
fart with this? It should be easy. But no, but you think about that, like during those years, I couldn't have told you what my needs were. I need to get up, I need to get to work, I need to make sure my kids are taken care of. I need this, I need this. Zero of it was like, I need to make sure I get a good nutritious breakfast. I need to make sure that I'm drinking enough water. I need to make sure I'm moving my body in a way that's not suffering. Like all of these things, like those were not in the needs space, right?
Well,
Until
I wanted to add something to that too. When we get to a place where we don't know what we want to do, what is helpful for me is to choose how I want to feel first. Because we'll go and try all these things trying to figure out what we want to do, and it's never what we wanted to do. It's not satisfying. It doesn't feel good. And the order of having something and then doing it to get it and then having it and then becoming what we want it to be is backwards. But being comes first. So how do I want to feel? And I bring that to me and be that. And then what I want to do starts to fall into place. It starts to be presented to me. And then I'm, whoa, that actually looks really more in line with how I want to feel. But I've got to commit to that feeling first before I go out and try to find it somewhere.
oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I love that. And to expand on that, I've found that a lot of the work that I do with individuals is around defining what they want. And that's at the end of the day, we're all chasing a feeling, right? And sometimes the first step is we're really, really familiar with the feelings that we don't want, right? And so identifying those and saying, man, this isn't where I want to stay. And then the next question is, okay, how do I want to feel? If this existence of anxiety, panic, fear, doubt, worthlessness, never feeling good enough, all of these are things that I no longer want to feel. Okay, what's the opposite that I want to start to feel? And then how can I start to call that in? Like Cami or Shelby just said, how do we get to the point where this is my right? This is my default. These feelings that I'm now clear about my intention of saying, wow, how do I get this? Because we're really, really, our minds are wired and know exactly how to feel the way that we've been feeling. That road has been very, very well traveled, right? And so it's looking at, all right, what's the road look like to the feelings that I want to feel? It's amazing.
I love that. And in the chat, like I'm going to stop really quick and just say it because Sarah had put, I actually want to help people. I feel called to do more energy work and healing, just clueless how to go about it. But I've never felt so strongly about anything in my life. I want to help myself feel better. And more than that, I want to help others feeling the same way. Tony said, I'm in the exact same boat. I know I want to help others heal. I just don't know what the path is to get there. This is I'm just going to jump in and just say this from a very raw standpoint. You guys, the fact that you have been through it, you've been through a lot of I mean, now is the time. There is no better time to jump in. I'm going to tell you, stop talking to your coaches and your therapists about what's wrong with me and start saying, okay, like I'm ready to dive into my purpose. I'm ready to go. Like no more am I talking about all of these things. Now you're going to have layers come up. I mean, we all still do. We still have things come up that trigger us and we get to say, okay, like this showed up for me today. Talk to some of my mentors, my coaches, my whoever, like whatever I need to do, but I move through it quicker because I'm now in a space where I am showing up every day for other people and I don't stay in my stuff very long anymore. Right?
Yeah.
It's different. So, either one of you, if you want to reach out to, I'd be more than happy to like help just start you on a little bit of a path to get you down a road. And, yeah, I feel really strongly about that. So we'll talk more.
I second that. I'll do it too.
Oh, look at that,
It's
you guys showing up tonight. Here we go.
Rick. This
To
excites me more. This excites me more than anything in the world. Like I love this so much.
I think to echo what my mom said, I've seen it firsthand. I've experienced it firsthand. I've also seen it in other people that when we go through a level of darkness that a lot of us on this call have likely experienced, right? There's varying degrees, but I would say that the majority of us on this call have been through some incredibly dark things. What this does is when we come out the other side of it and we have the tools and the skills and we start implementing them, it lights the path for others, but it qualifies you for an authentic and genuine connection with people that had you not gone through the darkness, you never would be able to connect with. And it's incredible because it's almost reframed for me. In fact, it has a lot of the experiences that perhaps I didn't understand in the past. It's like I'll have a moment where I connect and it's like, okay, wow, I get to now be grateful for this thing that yes, it sucked. We can say that it sucked. However, the me today gets to feel a moment of gratitude for something that was perceived as dark and painful because now I get to lift someone else. And I think this is what you're talking about, right? This desire. And my invitation would just be to start, right? And don't be afraid to ask for help because everyone that I know in this space is more than happy to give a hand up, to say, hey, yes, like here's what's working for us, right? Here's what's working for me. Oh, yes, I would love to hear, where you want to go with it. Because the reality is that this is all bigger than us, right? We're all connected and there are people that need the story, need the tools, and they need them in a way that only you can deliver them. And I think all of us feel that, right? That's why we're here. It's beautiful.
Love that. All right, moving on to inner empowerment. This is where we shift from victim of stress to creator of safety. And you guys realize what we just did? Victim and creator. What is that in?
The empowerment.
Yes, the empowerment dynamic,
Yeah.
right? So, but I love this because when I can say the victim of something to what am I trying to create, it makes it very identifiable for what I'm really working on, right? Instead of just being broad and saying, I'm the victim, I'm just a victim, or I'm feeling like a victim. What are you feeling like the victim of? And what do you want to create? Okay. Co-regulation, why community and nervous system safe spaces matter. And this is a big one, you guys, because like I told you earlier, like I talked about earlier with some of my old friends and needing to feel like I was a people pleaser or feeling like I was having to be a people pleaser in order to be in those spaces and things like that. Why is it so important for us to create or be in a community where we can feel regulated, where we're not in the fight or flight, where we're not having to be in that prove it space, where they just love us for our authentic selves? Why is that so important? Thinking about that, that is our regulation space. And so start calling that in. I mean, Kim and I did it, and look, now I've got Kim, Cammie, and Shelby, and like some amazing people in my life, right? And it just keeps growing. More and more people just keep coming into that space because I know what I deserve in this space and I know what I'm willing to tolerate and what I'm not willing to tolerate anymore. My community now feels safe. That's big, really big. Okay. And my body knows how to come back to balance. Does your body know how to come back to balance when it's feeling like it's in the middle of chaos? Or once it's in there, it's just like, I don't know when it's going to stop. I just hope it does. Or do I have to pop a pill for it to stop? I've known lots of clients like that the out was, a substance. I'm going to smoke some marijuana. I'm going to drink some alcohol. I'm going to pop a pill. something's got to bring me out of this. Is that really the true way? Is that really what our body needs? Probably not. Maybe in the moment, if it's that bad, you know, and I'm not saying marijuana and alcohol, but maybe the pill. I'm not gonna go over the top of your doctor with any of this. But I'm going to say, like, I would get curious with it and see if it's actually a crutch, or are these some of the tools like the breath work and the grounding and getting outside, just allowing yourself to rest and digest for a little bit. Maybe that will be what brings yourself back, and doing it without shame. Right? Like, we need to like be able to like say, I'm going to take an afternoon off today and I'm going to be okay with that. And if I want to watch a movie and eat popcorn, I'm going to do it. Okay. All right. Final scream. What's one calming practice that you are going to commit to this week? Everybody's on. You have to share.
You know, you said smoking marijuana was on the list.
No, that's not.
That's on the table. I'm all, huh?
Kim and Cole are on their way to Mesquite right now. Never mind.
Pick me up, Cole. No, actually, no, I'm teasing. I actually had ChatGPT write me a couple of hypnotherapy scripts that I'm going to record after my last client that's after this call. And I'm going to start listening to those on the daily. I'm also recommitting to mirror work, which this morning was powerful. Powerful, powerful, powerful. I felt so grounded and so regulated after doing that. And yeah, so those are my couple of things I'm committing to.
Love that.
I have been diving deeper into like my human design and learning that I am a sacral authority, and I talk myself out of my knowings a lot more than I care to admit. And so I have also been working with ChatGPT. Thank you, Kim, for suggesting all of this. But it has given me some like very detailed just things, practices that I can do every day to help me feel safe and grounded in those. And also I have learned that I am a non-emotional, which Kim also, we talked about this, like I thought I was always a very emotional person, but I feel like I pick up on others' emotions. So working with that of identifying like what is mine, what is not mine, stepping out of the people pleasing type things. Like I've got very clear daily practices that I've been trying to incorporate every day. So
they're so good. So good.
I want to share what my friend shared with me this week. She's an editor and an author, and she said she's starting a book, and it's about romancing yourself. And she says, when you think about living with someone, would you want to live with someone who saw you and then cringed, or saw you and berated you and nitpicked what you were wearing and what your hair looked like and whether you had makeup on? And she's like, if we really thought about how we are to ourselves and living with that kind of person, what it would be like. We don't think about it when it's outside of ourselves. And she suggested some things like, when you walk by the mirror, start getting flirty with yourself. Like, look at yourself and wink or wave hi or do the little heart sign or check yourself out and say, damn, you're looking good today. What you're going to accomplish in the next 3 hours, right? Become the roommate that I would want to live with. I mean, I have a pretty good one. I do have to say she's a great example. And I'm not saying become her, but she does. That's quite the cheerleader. She is. She teaches me a lot. But just romancing myself a little bit, and because I am the only person guaranteed to be with me for the rest of my life, why am I not being the best roommate possible? So that one actually does calm my nervous system when I am thinking about it and putting it to use. It is calming to be light with yourself.
I want to, my commitment actually just goes hand in hand with that. I think Shelby and I are in tune on several levels today, so it's freaking awesome. I actually had a conversation with a client today about something very similar. The relationships that we have that are external, right? If we go above and beyond to do something for someone and then it goes unnoticed or unappreciated, are we more likely to shut down and say, man, I don't know if I want to do that again? Or say, oh, actually, yeah, I feel great. I'm going to do more, right? But then in the inverse, if it is noticed, if it is appreciated, we feel like, oh, wow, yeah, okay. I got that little piece of validation or that appreciation that I was looking for. I'm going to do more of that, right? And turning that inwards, right? How often, I mean, even the work that we do, the work, the tools, these things that we're committing to, how often are we doing them? And then we're just like, nah, like, I don't really appreciate that I just did that for myself, right? And when we look at this, we have a relationship with ourselves, and it's a one-on-one relationship, right? And so when I do something that was maybe hard, and then I don't acknowledge the fact that, like, I'm appreciative that I did that for myself, it's the same thing as these external relationships. I'm less likely to do that for myself when I don't celebrate the fact that I did, or I don't have gratitude for, wow, Colt, you didn't want to do that, but you did. Good work. I see you. Mm-hmm. Right. And so for me, my commitment, just to kind of snowball on what Shelby said, is find those opportunities to celebrate where I've maybe been taking myself for granted.
I'm just giggling because let's take this real time. And Carrie, you presented something at the very beginning of the call. I'm trying to really focus on the word right.
I'm dying.
Right.
He's my son, right?
Right. She'd go, oh, I did it again. Or, oh, all right. Oh. So finding, and we all have those pieces of the puzzle that we're looking at and working on shifting. So being a safe place. So Carrie, when she says right, instead of judging that and making it bad, like for me over here, I start giggling so hard. I am just so giddy. Joyful. And so when you drop, like, try this on, if Carrie tries on, like when she says right, she just smiles at herself and takes the judgment out of, like, oh, I'm such a cute human. Right? There I go, saying right. And I'm working on shifting that just because I want to. Like, there's no teacher that's above her giving her a bad grade. Like for me, when I was a teacher, if I said the word I got marked down and got, the F, whatever. Carrie doesn't have any of that going on. She wants to change it for herself upon her own choice. And so finding where we're judging ourselves on those things that we're shifting, and Shelby's been such a beautiful example to me of this, is loving the version of Carrie that says right, and loving her so big, like, oh, there's my right, Carrie, and where's my wrong one? Where'd she go?
Love her too.
Get her in here. And being able and willing to laugh about our humanness, right? Taking the judgment out of it, and still watching for, okay, where do I want to expand? What is it that I want to do differently? And having fun with it, being silly. And I was over behind the scenes jumping and cheering each time you said right at the beginning of the call. I'm like, go, Carrie, go.
I almost turned the camera on. It was so good.
It's a thing. It's just a thing.
And learning to do that, it was so easy for me to love myself when I was performing correctly. But all the times when I wasn't, oh man, I would berate myself. And that's when I would go into the spiral and my nervous system would get caught in the loop of shame. So learning to love ourselves in the awesome sauce that we are, as well as the times when like we're just messy.
Yeah.
All right. We have 1 more minute. Does anybody else want to share? Tony said that she wants to create a safe space. And then Sarah says that she's been trying to consistently meditate in the morning, something that has been so tough in the past for her. Oh, she's got a sad baby.
Yeah.
See, Tony, are you trying to, oh, you're talking to somebody else. I just want to, okay. Michelle, do you have anything you want to share, or Terry? Oh, sad baby.
Sorry. I wanted to say something kind of off of Carrie Colton and and Ken and Shelby. So I saw something that said, it was a little video clip, and it said the hardest relationship you'll ever have is with yourself. You can't get away from quirks you don't like, and you can't get away from bad habits, and you have to deal with it. And when I saw that video the first couple of days, I was like, well, that sucks. Like, how do you, that sucks. Yeah, that sucks. And I saw another one shortly after, and it said, every time I go to the bathroom or walk by your mirror, I high five myself. Like, actually put my hand up to the mirror and high five myself, because you can't actually feel anger when you high five someone. You don't feel hate when you high five someone. You high five someone in a positive way, and coming from a place of encouragement and positivity. And it's the most ridiculous thing in the entire world, but I've been doing that, and I feel like it's helping.
High-fiving you, babe. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yay.
High five myself.
Yes.
That meme, Sarah, was made up by someone. Someone said the hardest relationship you'll ever have is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want that to be true?
No.
We get to create another narrative, and that's what you're doing. I want my relationship with me to be easy and fun and playful and light, and the best relationship I've ever had. That's the meme I choose. Let's make a new one and we'll all post it.
My 18-year-old son plays volleyball. They're going to state tomorrow, and he's the captain of his team. And when someone, like, he makes it a point that whether someone messes up or kills it, he goes and gives them high five. That it doesn't matter to him which of those it is. He goes right up to him and high fives, and the kids are like, but I bombed, I threw it. And he's like, I don't care, we got this, let's keep going. Just like what Sarah's saying, giving ourselves that celebration no matter what.
Because we deserve more love, not less, no matter what.
Being the star player on our own team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and on that, it's like our ability to influence the next event, right? Like in volleyball, the ability to influence the next play increases when our energy levels are higher. And I feel better energetically after I've received a high five, even after it's a failure or a perceived failure or a botched play, than I do if it's like, oh man, I suck, right? And so it's so subtle. Like you said, Sarah, it seems like it's the silliest thing in the world, right? but it's those little things to celebrate, right?
I wonder if that's why they're going to state, Cammie.
That's why they're going to win state.
Is that why they're, you know what I mean? Like, look at the level of success. And, you know, silly, I'm looking at myself in the mirror this morning, and I'm looking into my eyes, and I'm like, you got this. We got this. Look at how much we've overcome. We've done hard things. You know, you're so capable. Look how freaking gorgeous you are, you know, and then after I was done, I gave myself a big, big hug. And I'm telling you what, if my nervous system just didn't calm right down, I mean, it does. It seems silly, but like, but why? Why is,
Oh,
I mean, why is that weird? Why can't I give myself a high five right here? Right? You know, like what, who said? Who said that that is like weird or not okay or wrong? Because the fact of the matter is it's like, I am going to be with me for the rest of my life in this existence and beyond. And so that is the fact. Nurture this relationship. Love this person. Love this soul. Purely, completely, period. Period. And then let's see what happens out there, because I've given everything here first. And to the umpteenth degree. So
good. So good. Well, I hope you guys have had some really good takeaways that you can start to implement this week. And don't be afraid to share in the community if you guys have got some things going on. Like let us like work through some of that with you. We would love to. So share those in there. You never know. I mean, the one thing that I found in my coaching practice is that there are seasons, and the same thing keeps showing up. Like, I have one client come in, I guarantee the next 3 are going to have something very similar. So I'm just saying that because I promise when you share, there's probably somebody that's going through something very similar right now, and we can work through this together. We're in this. Let's might as well do it the best and the funnest that we can, right? Oh, Valerie is coming in a little late, but she's here. All right, you guys, I think that's it for tonight. It is 6:06. We've actually went over a few more minutes. Thanks for giving us that time, and enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next week. I'm going to stop